Good morning. When I first started to meditate, I could sit for 2 minutes, and I couldn't take the discomfort. It hurt too much. In just 2 minutes time, it is so uncomfortable, so painful, that I had to quit. But I started to read on Master Hsuan Hua's meditation books, and he didn't teach us much about the technical details of meditation. You will notice. I think for those of you who don't know, Master Hsuan Hua is the Chinese teacher. He is the patriarch of Orthodox Buddhism, meaning that he is in charge, he's responsible for the transmission of the Orthodox Buddhism to the U.S. He brought it to the West 40, 50 years ago. And actually 60 years ago, is that right, Randy? 60 years ago. 1960s.
8K, so it was 62, 63?
Yeah.
So around 1960.
So it was 50 years ago he came here. And he brought the meditation, the Chinese meditation technology, if you will, to the U.S. And it really is the first time the Chan meditation was officially brought to the West. His way of teaching is very unusual. He asks us to do things that other teachers don't dare ask. For example, what stands out in his teaching is that he asks us to endure the discomfort, endure the pain in the legs, which most other teachers, most students, first of all, don't care to endure. But that's why most meditation teachers do not dare to tell you that. And for some reason, I decided to endure because I trusted him. Somehow, I knew that this man here wouldn't ask me to do something that's not beneficial to me. That's what drove me to do what was not the common meditation teachers would teach. So after I endured, so I went quickly from 2 minutes within the few months. I went from 2 minutes of sitting time to about an hour and a half. And that's when the pain went away, the discomfort went away. Then something happened. I realized that I have some skills I didn't have before. That is that I was able to heal myself. At one time, I don't know if this is reported in my child handbook or not. I think it is. At one time, the family doctor, Eastern medicine doctor, talked me into taking some medication to expel the toxins in the body. And so I did that. And he warned me that it would be very uncomfortable. And surely enough, I took the medication at night. And within a couple of hours, within an hour or so, I vomited, and all the toxins came out from 9 orifices. It's ugly. It's incredible because I had to go to the bathroom repeatedly every few minutes. So eventually I held on the toilet bowl and sat there and tried to vomit. And even nothing came out, I still tried to push it out. It felt like you're trying to push out your own intestines, it's that violent. And around 4 or 5 in the morning, I was so exhausted that I said, it's time for the antidote. Take the antidote and stop this nonsense. But I was so tired, I couldn't even have the strength to walk to the kitchen where the antidote was. And so I said, let's meditate. It's nothing else you could do. Nothing else I could do. You're so exhausted, you're so tired, you're so wiped out. Then you just like want to die, and you can't. You're waiting to die. And so I said, since there's nothing else I could do, let's breathe. Let's meditate for a few minutes to gather enough strength to walk to the kitchen. So I was really motivated now. I said, either I sit here or wait to die and feel miserable, or that to gather enough strength to go to the kitchen to get the antidote and stop this discomfort. So being highly motivated, I concentrated and breathed for 2 minutes. And I recovered. Within 2 minutes of breathing, I became normal. I was still tired because of all the loss of that occurred the prior several hours before. But then I realized that I was feeling better. I could walk to the kitchen. Okay. But I felt so much better. I said, I don't need to take the antidote anymore because I stopped feeling to vomit. So, you see, that's when I first learned that meditation has inconceivable healing powers, self-healing powers. And it's not only for myself. Within a few months, I went and visited my nephew. And he's a 6-year-old. And we went to the park. And he's weak, and he's not physically well, and he started having diarrhea in the park. And so he's a very tough boy. Now he's a director in New York. Very good director, I'm told. He's very tough. He 6-year-old, he says, I'm feeling bad. I'm not going to ruin it for the rest of the family by asking them to go back home, take me home. So he sat there and toughed it out. I was so impressed. I said, okay, I will help you. So I concentrated and helped him concentrate and helped him and taught him how to breathe. Also, within minutes, he recovered. So it tells you that meditation is very beneficial if you're willing to invest the time to discipline yourself. The one lesson I didn't get back then until I started teaching meditation is that the first part about making progress, like in everything else, is you need to learn to discipline yourself, not to listen to yourself. Because when you meditate, your body is not comfortable. It wants to move. It cannot stay still. It does not like to stay still. So meditation starting out, and after a while it becomes uncomfortable. It hurts, And it's a good thing that you dare to endure it, because it shows you're tenacious. Meaning that you sit there and you resist the temptation to move, the temptation to quit. Because that's when your ego is at its best. It is so eloquent. It says, it gives you so many reasons why you should be quitting, why you should stop, why it is nonsense to continue. And yet, if you learn the first part you learn about meditation is that you learn not to listen to. You train yourself not to listen to. And that's part of the rapid development of meditation skills. If you are able to not listen to yourself, okay? The more you learn how to listen to yourself, the more skilled you become very quickly. Does it make sense to you? Because meditation is the first phase is you learn to quiet the body, not to move. Okay? And that alone is the first challenge that most people have. That is this urge to move the body. Okay? In particular, the way that my teacher and the way I chose to train my students is rather difficult. We ask you to cross your legs, which is prevent your blood from circulating in the legs. Or you sit there and not move, your blood is not circulating in your buns. It's not comfortable. What you do, you wiggle. You try to, you're uncomfortable. So the ego tells yourself, let's move. Let's alleviate this, you get some relief. Okay? And that's meditation. The first part of meditation training is learning to resist the temptation, not to listen to yourself. Okay? And that brings to mind a meditation story. In meditation, our schools, our training, when you get to a high level, we will teach you to do a more advanced meditation technique called the Huatou, or the Japanese called the Kuan, or it's from Gunan in Chinese. And it's a very advanced meditation technique. It's very powerful, and it's not for the faint-hearted, because it's so demanding of a meditation technique that most people who practice it fail miserably. They fail after years of practice. Why is that? Because it is known by the Chinese meditation. The Chinese, those who meditate in China, Asia, realize that the Kong or the Huatou or the Luna is one of the most advanced meditation techniques that the Chinese patriarchs invented. Okay? And with this meditation, you progress very quickly, and you can even become enlightened very quickly as well. That's why most meditators, when they first start out, they go for this Gona, and because out of greed, they say, since this is the most powerful meditation technique, I want to try it. So they keep on trying and trying and trying it for years, and they get nowhere. Okay, and they end up giving up. They don't meditate anymore. So this is a waste of my time. That's why we are a lot more cautious. We teach you only when you reach advanced levels, like after 9 or so. But anyway, or around 9 or so. Ninth level samadhi. So. Anyway, so there's a very famous Gungan. Very, very famous. I really like. I tell you one story about that Gungan. Oh, by the way, in our this instruction, feel free to ask questions about what you may have from about anything, about meditation, about things you read, or things that bothered you. Okay, we're very open-ended. We're here to try to share knowledge and help each other understand better. Okay, so feel free to jump in and ask questions. I'm talking. I'm talking as long as people don't ask questions, they keep on talking and talking. It's like I'm fishing, if you will. I'm fishing. Yeah, this is what Chan teachers are known to do. We go fishing. Okay? We fish with, we sit here quietly, we sit here still, and then there's a stick. We stick it out like this, and then that's the fishing rod, and then there's a string that goes down. Okay, and it turns out in the Chan literature, it's not very well known this aspect because people don't quite understand. They said a meditation teacher going fishing. It seems like it lacks compassion, doesn't it? Right? It's so un-Buddhist, non-Buddhist. But actually, the meditation teachers, when we go fishing, we use a rod, we use a cane, we roll our boat out in the middle of the river, the pond, or we go to the pier, okay, and stick out a cane like this, and throw the float down. You know what? We throw it down. We use a cane. We use everything else, but we don't use a hook. We don't. Okay. Why? Because the intent is not to catch anything. The intent is to watch. You understand? We go fishing. We don't intend on catching fishes. You only want to watch the fishes. They come and go. Anyway, I elaborate on the fishing a little more later if you wish, or another time you wish. Anyway, going back to the Gungan, or the comb. There's a famous comb that says, what is the sound of one hand clapping? I'm glad you find it funny. Trust me, the Chinese students who first heard it, they started scratching their head. They said, what? What? And that's the nature of the Huatou, the Gungan. Okay? It's very difficult to understand. The sound of one hand clapping. So at one time, this Zen teacher who went to China to learn the Chan techniques from China and brought it back to Japan. He called in one of his students, one of his bright students, and said, "It's about time you practice, this comb." And so the student was so excited. He says, "Wow, teacher, thank you. I'm honored that you decided to teach me this comb, this technique." So he said, "Yes, just wait a little bit. Don't thank me yet." So he said, "Here's your topic of investigation. Okay, you do the Huatou, the Gungan. You investigate. You sit there and you contemplate this topic, meditation topic. Okay? That's what meditation is about. We're supposed to contemplate the meditation topic. Okay. Yours right now is, until you prove to me otherwise, is your navel, or reciting Buddha's name. That's the topic. You keep your mind busy on some aspect, on one thought. Okay, that's the meditation topic. Now this Gungan here is so the teacher, the Zen teacher, taught his student, his bright student, says, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" So that guy got so excited and said, "Okay, let me go home, where I promise I will work hard day and night and figure this thing out." So he went home and he meditated on that topic. What is the sound of one hand clapping? And he came back to see his teacher, Zen teacher, a week later. Zen teacher said, "Well, have you figured it out yet?" The man says, "Well, Master, I racked my brains. I couldn't figure out what is the sound of one hand clapping." So the Zen teacher sternly says, "Well, you're not doing it right. You might as well be dead because you're wasting the time." So that man, you see, remember, this is a bright, one of the better students. Instead of quitting, like all of you would, the man came home and practiced, and continued to practice, even though his teacher rejected him and berated him and said, "You were worthless. You might as well be dead. You can't make it." So he worked hard for another week. He came back and saw his teacher. And the teacher says, "Well, what have you got for me?" So his student started making grimaces and breathing heavily, and then passed out. Pretended to be dead. So the Zen master sat there quietly, and then he said, "Well, you seem to understand my message, that you're better off being dead. Okay? But have you figured out what is the sound of one hand clapping yet?" The man said, "No, Master, I haven't." So the Zen teacher says, "Then get up, get out of here. That man do not talk back to me." So kicked him out. We'll go somewhere else. The anecdote tells you that if you try to meditate, the state of meditation is beyond intellectual reasoning, intellectual deduction. The reason this man here didn't get the Gungan, the Huato, was because he's trying to understand with his reasoning, his deduction. Okay? And that's why he went wrong. Meditation is about letting go. Meditation is about clearing your head, not using it. Not using it to solve or to work on the meditation topic. Okay? So meditating is a process that you sit there and you see all these fish coming and going because they're drawn to my fishing rod. Okay? And the flow is very colorful. It moves. So the fish arrive. The fish symbolize what? Your thoughts. Okay? It's when you go fishing, that's when you realize there's lots of fish underneath. A lot more than you realize. Does it ring a bell? There's a lot more thoughts underneath your psyche, your subconsciousness than you realize. It's not until you meditate, that's when they surface. You're drawn to it. Normally, until you go fishing, you sit there still. Okay? You cannot tell. They don't surface. It's only when you become still, you sit still with that cane, the fishing rod. Okay? That's when they manifest themselves. The kinds of thoughts that you take for granted, your normal thought as well, a lot of kinds of thought that you weren't aware of before. Okay? So the first phase of your meditation is your normal thinking, your normal mental processes, mentation, you will. Your conscious thinking. It continues. Just because you sit there and meditate does not mean it stops right away. It still continues. It says, oh my goodness, it's so boring. What am I doing here? Okay. It complains. Does it ring a bell? Yes? What am I doing here? Oh my God, it hurts so much. Oh my God, this is nonsense. It continues. So what happens is, what do? What do you do when people complain? What do you do? When people complain? What do you do?
It depends on who it is that's complaining.
Very good.
Sometimes you appease the person and try to find out what you can do to alleviate the complaining. And sometimes you just shut it out. It depends.
When you are the person who's complaining, what do you do? Yes.
If I'm complaining, then
Yes.
I make that guy happy.
You make
If
it
you're
right.
complaining, I ignore it.
You should do exactly the opposite.
Keep going.
See, this is why Randy is so confused, so unhappy. When all these people complain, we make them happy. When we complain, we ignore it.
That's too Buddhist.
It's very Buddhist. It's very Chak. Huh? What do you think?
I think we just watch it and we keep going. And we see it's there and just say, okay.
If someone else complains, if you ignore it, what's going to happen? You're going to get into trouble, aren't you? Okay? So, don't think the Buddhists are dumb. So if you're going to be passive doesn't mean we're dumb. Okay? Make sure you resolve the complaints, external complaints. But when you complain, yes, Danny.
I was thinking when there's a complaint,
Yeah.
whether it's yourself or someone else, the procedure for resolving the complaint should be the same to identify the problems. What can you do to fix it? But as far as how much do we help in these kinds of things, I usually think of the saying to cut off evil and cultivate the good. Because if a style of complaining comes to me and I see that as a personality trait, I guess because of my situation in life, I'm kind of protecting, defending my sense of self. I take to cut off the evil and cultivate the good, so I kind of appease so that they can exist happier elsewhere.
Okay. You have to be careful when you deal with complaints. Again, I stress, if the complaint comes from outside, you have to take it seriously and resolve it. Okay? Address it. You don't have to address it immediately, but you need to pay attention. But when it's the complaint is yourself, your ego manifesting, yes, absolutely. It's do no evil, do all good. That's the way to solve it. But the practical approach for dealing with yourself is what just Mary just said. Ignore. Don't act on it. Okay? Because you don't say that stop complaining, I'm going to listen to you, I'm going to ignore you, you are nonsense, what are you doing? You are fighting. This is very subtle. You be very careful. If you say to yourself, I said, this is nonsense. This is, I'm being stupid. Okay? I'm above this. Okay? What you're doing, you are engaging in internal struggle. You're validating your own yourself, your own complaints. You're simply making it harder for yourself. Okay? Whereas internally, if let's say you sit there and we tell you to cross your legs, and the legs begins to hurt, and your complaint manifests itself in the form of let's move, let's unbuckle the legs, let's wiggle. Okay, that's a complaint, isn't it? Does it ring a bell? Right? All the time, right? It says, come on, move. Oh, it hurt too much. This is unbearable. Okay, how much longer? All those are complaints. Internal complaints. What you do is, you just do nothing whatsoever. Do not act upon it. That's how you solve it. That's the best way to solve it, by the way. Yes?
What if the person outside the self is complaining to a point where you feel as though you're cornered? I guess maybe you already answered the question. It's just something recent that happened to me. Maybe I should have deflected or evaded rather than confronting.
There is a whole the whole process, a whole series of things you need to do, you can learn to do to resolve the external conflicts. Okay. There's a conflict resolution, problem resolution. Okay. And it's very well documented. The salespeople, for example, they have this procedure. For example, they say, number one, the first step they learn is to acknowledge, to empathize. You do not want to ignore the complaints. That would be a tragic mistake. It offends people if you ignore it. So the first thing you do is you acknowledge the complaint. You acknowledge their misgivings. Okay. That's very important. You spend enough time, you make sure you empathize. That's a word for it. And salespeople is empathy. You empathize. And the next step is you clarify. You don't fight. You clarify. Okay. Again, it's also based on the concept of not fighting, non-fighting. You clarify what is the nature of the complaint. What are you complaining about? That's when you make sure that you understand what it is that they are unhappy with. And once you get to that point, then it's very rather more manageable to find a way to resolve it. The people, when the common mistake of people is that they fail to empathize, therefore they get more offended. The complainer gets more offended. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people don't really listen anyway, if you're wanting to explain something.
Right. Absolutely. They're so self-absorbed. They don't care.
Yes.
Yes, they don't care.
Even if you wanted to clarify.
Right. So, and that's the thing that it turns out. I notice the one thing that's a common denominator of the people who meditate. They become better listeners. They naturally become better listeners. Why? Because instead of reacting right away, they wait. They would wait. Okay? They don't jump the gun. They will. They wait until that person finishes. Okay? And they are able to absorb the anger and frustrations without reacting to it. Why? Because it's the same thing as with fishing. All those thoughts of anger manifest, remember? We sit here, we go fishing, and the thoughts of anger will manifest, right? They say, God, I can't believe it. This is how she treated me. Okay? Yes?
Everybody about the listening part, because it doesn't matter if you have a solution for them. I think that the act of just being able to listen and for them to know that you listen to them is enough.
Yes.
Yes.
That's half the solution already.
Yeah.
Because you don't listen, they will escalate. Because this is very important, because it actually is not that much difference between internal and external complaints. Because they all are based on what? Who complains?
Ego.
The ego complains. You better learn how to deal with the ego who complains. And let me tell you, the person who meditates, who has some meditation skills, are a lot more effective at conflict resolution. Why? Because this person is able to handle his or her ego a lot more effectively. And use the same skills to apply towards handling other people's ego. You see? It's for real. It takes real skills to be able to handle yourself. Because you know why? Let me tell you this. You already know that your ego is the most clever enemy you have.
That's true.
It is so clever. It is so slippery that it constantly surprises you. Okay? If you are able to get a handle on your ego, your own ego, okay, other people's ego tend to be more manageable to deal with. So actually, going back to Danny's question, what if I have some concern from complaints from other people who can cause a lot of problems. You apply the same techniques you apply in meditation. Okay, you learn to be patient. Be patient and listen. Be patient. You don't cut them off. You don't react to them. Remember, you go fishing. Whatever the fish do, all the fish do, is just sit there and watch. Okay? And that, after watching, after listening, will appease them. Okay? Yes?
What about when the complaint changes a little bit? It's more than a complaint about an issue. The other person is maybe taking the topic personally and kind of making it a personal issue, one versus another, rather than having a complaint about a topic that can be resolved. Is that a point where we start to insulate ourselves from them, or is that a point where we should empathize, take the high road, and try to cultivate?
I don't know. That sounds too much suffering. If they after you, okay, if they after blood, then give them blood. Bleed. You recover. Part of fishing as well. Going fishing as well, you sit there and you get hit by the sun and you get sunburns. And you still don't react.
That takes a lot of courage.
Okay? You can take it. Don't be afraid. Sometimes you can, the world people look at it as they become philosophical and say, oh, well, that's life. You get hurt, you lose some, you win some, you lose some, and all those things. It's irrelevant. In meditation and Chan meditation, the spirit that you take it, you endure it. It's just like, let me give you an analogy. I remember this story about two boxers, okay, and they're going at it. Okay, and one is more skilled than the other, so it's a beating the other face to a pole. And they're the worst enemies, they're the worst rivals. And the better boxer says, "You gonna give up?" I say, "No." "Are you gonna give up?" The lower level boxer says. "Are you kidding me?" He said, "No, I'm not kidding you. I figure eventually you get tired." You don't quit. You take it, you do it. That's meditation. That's how tough we are. The toughest, by the way, is not from outside. As I said, the toughest is from inside. Because the toughest manifests itself in what? Making you quit. The toughest enemy is the one who makes you quit.
That's true.
Right? You run away. It makes you run away. That's the toughest enemy. Yes.
I'd like you to expand on this aspect of taming the ego, because from the outside, it still appears that there are a lot of denials and insults that we get from others,
Yeah.
dishonesty, etc. And there's only so far you take in terms of conflict resolution.
Yes.
So one has to tame one's ego in terms of, the varied circumstances all day through. And you spoke about the ego earlier, so how would you expand?
It's a rather tough question, a broad question, too broad a question to answer. The way I want to answer that is a very good question, by the way. It's a practical question. The way I answer is that you learn to refrain yourself from retaliating. Retaliating. You don't retaliate. You take it. Okay? want your blood, they go for it, like that boxer. You're gonna get tired eventually, right? Those gloves are heavy towards round number 10, number 12. So if you manage yourself to stay on your feet until round number 12, that guy's gonna get tired. He's gonna give up. That's how tough we are. And you know what? The smart boxer will give up beforehand. The opponent who's smart, he backs up. He says, I can't win, I can't beat this guy. So he stops. So sometimes fighting in contention is to develop a reputation to be so tough, you don't quit. That they don't dare come and fight you anymore. Okay? Now, this answer to your question again is that you learn to rein your ego by recognizing your failure. Am I making sense? Hang on, I'm coming to Eugene. Am I making sense to you? Here's a practical thing. We've been taught a little blue in the face and say, oh, it's so easy to rein in the ego. But let me tell you, okay? Part of the training we give you here, the Chan training, is what? The secret of Chan training, why our students progress very quickly is because they fail. We bring them to the point of failure. Yeah, I don't care. When I didn't tell you that from 2 minutes to an hour and a half, how many times I failed. And yet I didn't quit meditation.
Sticking it out is what counts.
It's about not quitting. Doing it more, trying it more each time, and not quit. And when you keep it up, you get there. Okay. I'm told by one of my students that she says that the way we train our students is that we ask them to bear a little bit longer each time. And naturally, after a year, she can sit for an hour and a half without any problem. Just like that. Okay. You keep at it every single time. And that's how you progress. And that is part of taming the ego. Because you tell yourself, you give yourself a time interval when you say, no matter what, I'm not going to quit. No matter what, I'm not going to listen to myself. Okay? And then you tell yourself to stretch a little bit more. And you're not listening to yourself a little bit more. That's why eventually when you become a meditation teacher, you can sit there all day and not react to the cane or all the fish that goes back and forth. Okay? It takes patience. You build up your patience. It's not simply talking. Meditation is not talking, it's about doing. So what happens is that every time you learn not to listen to yourself, convincing you to quit, to complain, okay? That's when you tame it a little bit more each time. It's just like a sculptor. Okay? You chisel bit by bit, day by day, eventually you get your statue. It takes work. It takes time. If you think that the meditation skills are so easy to arrive at, then I think you're misled. You have to work for it. There's no shortcut. Okay. Yes, Jean.
I think you kind of answered my question. I'm talking about the confrontation in a situation that they like.
Yes.
It's hard to walk away from it if somebody thinks something negative or critics, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's hard to block those thoughts.
The thing about confrontation, I'm glad you brought it up. No, I didn't answer that. The thing about confrontation in your daily life is this, okay? Some ego wants to win. That's the nature of confrontation, isn't it? Okay? There's confrontation because someone wants to win.
That's bottom line.
Okay? And in meditation, if you become a good meditator, then you learn to yield. You learn to yield.
Isn't it sometimes it can be perceived as we're very passive and weak so that other opponent could do more harm to us?
Absolutely. They think you'll win. And they go and they escalate. And they press the issue. They embarrass you because they want to feel better about it. They want to be, even, they didn't realize how easy it is to win against you. But you know what? And that's the strength you have. There's a difference between instant gratification or long-term gratification. If you go for instant gratification, I call you shallow. I call you inferior. If you go for long-term gratification, you're a superior person. Okay? Let them win. But you know what? Yes, they go around and boast about it, brag about it, like he's such a wimp. Just coming and against that all over him and he's not going to do anything. You don't have to worry about that. It's only a shallow person bragging about it. There's someone else who disagrees with that person. You know who it is? Your boss. How do I know that? Because if your boss agrees with that person, a shallow person, you'd be fired already. You've lost your job already. What are you worried about? If your boss is so shallow, aren't you better off working with someone else who's a better boss? So what are you worried about? He can't appreciate you. He can't appreciate your depth. What are you doing there? Go somewhere else. Find someone else better to work for, to slave for. You'll be rewarded in a much bigger rewards down the road. Agree? You go short-term benefits or long-term benefits? Okay? So these people who like to confront and they make a lot of noise and they grandstand and so on, you know what? It works temporarily. It works short-term. But in long-term, they don't last. Okay? The most important thing is that yourself, how you feel about yourself. It's not the other person. Whether you can take it yourself. And be able to sleep at night and eat at mealtime. Yes.
Just to conclude what you say, in terms of, say, the pain on your leg or whatever you're meditating, it's not a matter of ignoring it, but it's just acknowledging it, and then just let it be, and then that's it.
Not quit.
Yes.
It's not the pain. It's the ego. It says, let's quit. Let's find something else better to do. and find something else more fun to do.
But it's
To
not.
empathize with it and let it win.
Don't even empathize. Don't encourage it. Just ignore it. You say, ah, there you are. The fish, it goes by.
Is
You
it?
see, remember? We sit here and there's no hook. There's nothing you can do to it. That's the whole thing. The objective, the plan, the grand plan, Maria, is to do nothing. Just watch. That's how you understand the universe. That's how you conquer yourself. It's not easy because that ocean has so many creatures that will pop up. Okay? And it's a wonderful discovery. All these things surface when you sit there. And that's where you discover yourself. Who you really are. That you're too busy during a normal day to worry about. Okay? And my contention to you is that we all need to meditate daily because that's when we touch base with ourselves. We go back to ourselves, get to know ourselves. That's when we understand ourselves and take care of our mental health. If you don't meditate, you let the external world overwhelm you. You realize that? Life is so overwhelming nowadays that the external pressure is incredible. Right? It's more than any of us can handle. Have you noticed that? I notice that myself. Every week I get more things to do. Every week I fall further behind. I am ashamed to admit it. Yes. I let things slip. Okay? That's a fact of life. You can't help it. You know, one more person comes to the temple, I have one more problem to deal with. Trust me. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's sad, isn't it? So, you meet one more person, then you have one more external source of external pressure on you. That's the way it is. Okay? So, that's the nature of our existence. So we better learn how to cope with it, the increased external pressure. That's how you have to live your life. No two ways about it. Okay? If you don't, you'll be miserable. You will not be happy. You will not be happy. Trust me. I saw a man who's well off financially, well, at least temporarily. He still is. But I see that life has overtaken him physically, that he's ill. And I see this man who has ideals of providing for a family, to be ethical to his employees, to take care of his employees, to do the right thing for the family, for people, for the community, and to be a decent person. Okay? But is that enough? No. The fact remains that he's overwhelmed by life. And physically, he's at the end of his rope. Okay? And I look at that, I admire this man, I say, wow, that's such a decent man who is a good role model for a lot of people. Unfortunately, he won't be a role model very long if he keeps it up that way. Okay? That's a typical case of people learning learning, not ignoring their own well-being. Okay? And that's nonsense too. That's a very imbalanced lifestyle. I feel that if anything at all, meditation will help you be in touch with how you feel about your own life every day. Okay? If you don't pay attention to that, you become a bitter person. You lose control of your own life. You allow the outer world, the outside world to overwhelm you and take you. Whereas if you're more aware of what's happening to your feelings, how you feel about certain things, when you feel overwhelmed, that's when you step back. You don't allow the external world to overwhelm you. That's not acceptable. Only you allow it to happen. That's why I admit, every week I let one thing slide. Because I can't take it. You say, I can't handle this, I'm sorry. Okay. Please go to another temple. I refer to a much better temple. Okay. I'm being honest, I'm telling you, you need to make choices. Okay? And the only way you can make choices is when you are in touch with how you feel inside. You don't allow others to dictate what choices you should make. Agreed? Because if you allow others to dictate what choice you should make, you'll be miserable. Same thing when you're in a confrontation, okay? It's your personal choice to say, I won't let you beat me. I won't let you grandstand. I won't let you have the last word. Okay? As long as I know that there's nothing wrong with my approach, nothing wrong with me. This is the difference, by the way, between a superior person and an inferior person. The superior person knows full well where he stands. It may not be a popular stance. Maybe not what the herd instincts. It goes against the herd instinct. Okay? Of the mass. But it's the right thing to do. You do. You don't worry about what people think. Yes? Then you have a chance to have some control over your life. You have to detach from what people perceive of you. Okay? So meditation allows you to see how you react, be more sensitized to how you react to people, to the outside world. Okay? Any other questions or comments? Yes.
You were talking about how somebody provided you with a medicine that you weren't familiar with and you had a violent reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that it was just your own body reacting as an allergy, or would that affect everybody the same way? And if so, what should we stay away from?
Not at all. He's a very competent Eastern medicine doctor. So it's a well-known thing in Eastern medicine, by the way. They have toxins expulsion potions. It's a well-known thing. So it's recommended, for example, you're missing Thomas. He should be back next weekend when you come back. Thomas is he's a health nut. He's in Switzerland right now on vacation. His last chance before he gives up his ring and becomes a novice monk. But he's into health, so he watches his diet because he has a reason. He has a health concern, so he has to manage his diet. Watch his diet, and people would he would often go into take these toxin expulsion potions. It's a well-known thing. And what it does is that it cleanses your body of toxins. The food we eat every day is full of toxins. And that accumulation of toxins is not good for it. So what you do is occasionally, the Eastern medicine people would encourage you to take something to expel the toxins. Okay? For example, even Westerners nowadays are worried about the colon cancer, so they have things to clean the colon. Okay? Same thing here. The toxin expulsion potion basically removes a lot of toxins throughout your body. It's very, very effective. It's very comfortable. And that's the physical way of handling it. All right. My story, Sean had been listening to that MP3 file, and you can find out that I started telling that story in my Chanting book. I related that as well. The thing about the potion is this: it is limited. It's very limited. It's limited to the chemicals they use to entice your body to reject the toxins. Okay? So it's an artificial way of forcing your body to expel the toxins. Okay? It's funny you ask that, because after I meditated for all these years, I don't take those kind of potions anymore, because meditation is a much more effective way of expelling toxins. Much more effective. You know why? Should I tell you why? Okay.
Of course.
Because meditation will zap toxins from your body naturally. It zaps all the toxins. And the more skilled you become, the more toxins you will eradicate from your system. And I have proof. I'm not saying that for the sake of saying that, because it is known, if you guys who are Asians know that they're in Asia, in Chinese, in China, in Asia, there's a concept called immortals, right? The Taoist, immortal. People who live for a long, long time. You heard of that, right? Especially the Taoist. In China, in Chinese, they have a Taoist practice, right? Especially in Malaysia or Penang, or Taiwan. I don't know, Korea. We have Taoists in Korea a lot, right? That practice, by the way, is a sort of practice that prolongs life. They're known to be immortals because they live for hundreds of years, thousands of years, 10,000 years. It's an old fact in the Asian culture. For example, even in Western Europe, there's a very famous immortal called the Comte de Saint-Germain. He lived so long that he changed his name. He disappears for a while and he reappears under a different name. Okay? He's very well known under the Comte de Saint-Germain. He's a French aristocrat. I can show you the pictures of one of these days. Anyway, it's a well-known fact. Immortals these people can live for a long, long time.
How many years did he live?
Up to 10,000 years or more.
The guy you talk about.
Which guy?
French.
The French guy? The Comte Saint-Germain? I don't know how long he lived because no one knows. But they can live for a very long, long time. Maria said, well, this guy, I don't know what he's talking about. Of course.
No, I'm just taking it all in.
So how do these Taoists, what is the Taoist practice? The Taoist practice revolves around their cleansing the body of the toxins, therefore slowing down the dying process. Make sense to you? You all dying. You all dying slowly, like it or not. Okay? Some faster than others, especially those who work their butts off, tend to die faster than the rest of us. Right? Who meditate. I forgot to add the phrase, who meditate. Okay? Meditation. The Taoist practice is based on meditation. They have this practice where they actually cleanse the body of the toxins. So what they call the purify the body. Okay? And that's what they live to be very long. Now you can all rush and look up the Taoist practices. Don't have to. I will teach you those practices if you want to. But I'm not a very good teacher because I haven't practiced them yet. I know the principles behind them. I learned some of them. But I never practiced them because I found that the Buddhist practices are much more effective. Much more effective. Anyway, it's a biased opinion, of course. The point here is that all these practices have the same basis. That is, the higher level of concentration, the more toxins you will zap out of your body. So, for example, the advanced meditators, you put those potions into them. You take these toxin repulsion potion, they will not be able to expel that much because it zaps so much already. Okay? In fact, the advanced meditators, those potions can't do it. They can't do much for them to them. So it's a long answer to your question. That is meditation is the most effective form of toxin reduction that you have. That's why we encourage you to increase your work harder and increase your concentration because it makes you healthier. Period. There's a reason why we do this, because the reason why all our students who've been practicing meditation all these years with us, their health improved. And it's not the beer we drink either. It's a false rumor. Okay, we don't drink beer. We still look young. Okay. Because you really slow down the decay process in your body when you meditate. And it's a lot more than I have time to explain to you. I have to spend more time and talk some more down the road. But physically, the meditation is a form of toxin reduction because of your qi. Same thing in the Taoist practice. The Taoist practice, I think they are misguided. I hope I'm not offending any Taoists. Too many of them out there. Very rich, very powerful, very skilled. Some of them beat up on me already. But again, I figure they get tired after a while, and they did get tired. They gave up. They found out they couldn't beat up on me anymore. They couldn't do anything. So anyway, the Taoist practice, they make a fuss out of it. Actually, the lowest basis is the qi. Okay, if your concentration level is higher and the qi flow is higher, therefore it just like, if you will, the very simple analogy is your blood vessels. has deposits right now. So the stronger the blood flows, the fewer deposits you have. Same thing with the qi. The qi, the stronger your qi flows throughout your system, throughout your body, the less toxins that will remain in your system. That's the same principle. Okay? So that's why the Buddhists, they concentrate on developing samadhi power instead of worrying about the toxins. That's why our samadhi power is higher, because we develop samadhi power instead of worrying about secondary stuff. All right, time is up. Let's go to lunch. All right, thank you.